right, folks, we are back here on WLTH 1370 AM. That's 92.7 in the FM dial. If you're nasty, it is 7:41 in the PM. So I got to be out of here in less than 20 minutes before Dr. Williams comes with this 2x4 like Hacksaw Jim Duggan and kicks me out personally. So if you're going to call now, 219-885-1371. That number again, 219-885-1371. Now, I am never one to say I told you so, okay? I'm not that person, okay? I like to think I'm not petty at all. Like, I'm above that. I'm above saying I told you so. But there is something that was kind of grinding my gears for a long time, and that was the media's constantly telling us that Joe Biden, our former president, was perfectly fine when it was pretty obvious to anybody with functioning ears and eyes that the man obviously was not. And so, just for a quick recap, there was a lot of Biden sharp as a tack propaganda being pushed by CNN and every other media outlet for a long time. So let's revisit a lot of what the media had to say when people question whether or not our former president was indeed all there.
This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever.
He is sharp, intensely probing, and detail-oriented and focused.
For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America.
This is a man who is sharp, who is on top of his game, who knows what's going on.
He's smart. He's on his game.
His mental acuity is great.
This is a very sharp president.
And the people that I've talked to say he's as sharp as a tack. He's fine.
They say he's sharp.
There's not a problem.
He was sharp. He was sharper than anyone I've spoken to.
The president is sharp and he is tireless.
He is sharp
as ever.
And he's fine. All this right-wing propaganda that his mental acuity has declined is wrong.
His brain is good. He's still great.
He is sharp in meetings.
I believe the people who say that behind closed doors Joe Biden remains sharp.
In meetings, Joe Biden is sharp.
He's sharp, he's fit.
There is nothing to these challenges, these suggestions that somehow he's not sharp.
So that's a lot of people in the mainstream media. Jake Tapper, specifically from CNN, got into a knockdown, drag-out argument with Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, about Joe Biden's mental acumen and acuity, should I say, a few years ago. This is how it went.
Every time he comes on stage or they turn to him, I'm like, Joe, can you get it out? Let's get the words out, Joe. You kind of feel bad for him.
How do you think it makes little kids with stutters feel when they see you make a comment like that?
First and foremost, I had no idea that Joe Biden ever suffered from a stutter. I think what we see on stage with Joe Biden, Jake, is very clearly a cognitive decline.
Okay.
That's what I'm referring to. It makes me uncomfortable
you have
to watch somebody on stage search for
it's so amazing. It's so amazing to me
and try and figure out an answer.
A cognitive decline.
Well, when you're trying to tell me that what I was suggesting was
I think that you were mocking
I had
his stutter.
No idea, Joe
Yeah,
Biden.
I think you were mocking his stutter, and I think you have absolutely no standing to diagnose somebody's cognitive decline. I would think that somebody in the Trump family would be more sensitive to people who do not have medical licenses diagnosing politicians from afar. Plenty of people have diagnosed your father from afar, and I'm sure it offends you, your father-in-law from afar. I'm sure it offends you. You don't have any standing to say...
I'm not diagnosing him. What I'm saying, Jake,
you just talked
is
about
that
a cognitive decline.
That Joe Biden
I have
is
one last question for you, Laura. You can't
times on stage, and it's very concerning to a lot of people that this could be the leader of the free world.
Okay.
That is all I'm saying. I genuinely feel sorry for Joe Biden.
I appreciate it. I'm sure.
So that's Jake Tapper from CNN arguing with Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, Laura Trump, about Joe Biden's mental acuity. This was I think it was from last year or the year before last. So you see, that was basically the line from the media was, what is everybody talking about? Joe Biden's completely fine. He's completely fine. What are you talking? What are you saying? You know, now that very same man right now, Jake Tapper, has written a book called Original Sin, President Biden's Decline. Its cover-up and his disastrous choice to run again. I am not lying. That is the title of the book, Original Sin, President Biden's Decline. Its cover-up and his disastrous choice to run again. It is being co-authored with Alex Thompson. It is set for release in May. It is a detailed examination of the former president, Joe Biden's, decision to seek re-election in 2024, despite what the authors themselves describe as a significant decline in his cognitive and physical abilities. This book argues that Joe Biden, his family, and his senior aides all concealed his deterioration from the public, driven by a belief that he alone could defeat Donald Trump in a rematch of the 2020 election. This narrative centers on the lead up to and the consequences of Joe Biden's widely criticized performance in the June 27th, 2024 presidential debate. I know you guys remember that. We talked about it here, how Joe Biden just sort of was gone. And like at some point, Donald Trump even felt kind of sorry for him. He's like, even Joe doesn't know where he's at currently. Presenting it as not an isolated poor showing, but as the accumulation of years of decline. Tapper and Thompson assert that this moment exposed the long-standing issue that had been hidden through careful management and deception, drawing from over 200 interviews with sources close to the situation. It frames Biden's story as a Greek tragedy. Like, this is like, the reason why this is a story, right, that I wanted to cover here, it shows you that our media are full of people who regularly lie to us, the public. If there's anything, if you don't get anything else from this show or any show I've ever been on since I've been here at WLTH, it is that our media is literal propaganda. They will talk about Russia. They will talk about China. They will talk about North Korea as being propaganda. Oh, that's Russian propaganda. That's Chinese propaganda. That's North Korean propaganda. They got nothing on CNN. They got nothing on CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and the newspapers. These people are literally dangerous. This man right there argued Laura Trump down that there was absolutely nothing wrong with Joe Biden. And now this same guy, like a year later, is writing a book, a detailed book, about how in decline the guy was. Everybody could see it. Everybody could hear it. Except for people who didn't want to see it and didn't want to hear it. And people who saw it and heard it and just lied. They blatantly lied to us. This is why you cannot trust our media, folks. This is why you cannot trust the mainstream media here in the United States. It is literal propaganda. And they will lie to you with a straight face. This man, I'm looking at the video of this man arguing. You would never guess this man is just blatantly lying through his teeth. He knows Joe Biden is gone. He knows it at the time. Hold on, caller. He knows this. And he chooses. He literally chooses to lie to the public for whatever reason, whether it's because he's being paid to by the Democratic Party or because he's a Democrat and he just doesn't want to see Donald Trump get reelected, which really didn't matter anyway. Even after they forced him out, they still lost. Whatever reason, this man ignored what was obvious to anybody. This is 70% of Democrats said they didn't want Joe Biden as their nominee in 2024. They ran him anyway, against the wishes of their own party. Their own party didn't want him. They ran him anyway. He was historically unpopular. They forced him on us anyway. And then waited to the very last moment so that nobody other than his vice president, who they had promised it was her turn, would be elected. Or at least face election, you know, would be a part of the election. This is why it's important to vet all the information you get from the corporate mainstream media. They are capable of making any narrative that they want. You don't have to be a Democrat. You ain't got to be a Republican. You ain't got to be a left or a right. You ain't got to be anything. But you got to understand that these people will lie to your face. They do it every day on Fox News. They do it every day on MSNBC. They do it every day on CNN. They do it every day on ABC, NBC, CBS. This is how we ended up in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya, in Syria, in Somalia. This is how we end up in constant wars. This is how we end up with the horrific politicians we have in this country who are all corrupt. It is because the media is in it with them. These people lie to us constantly. This is what they do. And that should concern you whether you support Joe Biden or not. It don't matter whether you support him or don't, whether you're a Republican or Democrat, whether you're black or white. It doesn't matter. Anytime they can lie about this, they can lie about anything. And they often do. They often do. Let me get this last caller. Caller, we about to get out of here, so make it quick.
Yeah, I'm going to make it quick, Scotty. You only gave me 2 minutes. Okay, I'm going to try to do it in 2 minutes. Now, listen. Now, Joe, he should have left a year and ahead of time. He should have gave her, that, he should have been a bigger man. He'd have went down in history as that, he couldn't leave that war chest to nobody else but her. That was $500 million left up there in the racks. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So nobody else couldn't get that amount of money and amount that type of fight, that with the type of time they had. That's $500 million that he had. Now listen, I ain't called there to talk about that part, but listen, this is what I want to ask you. Now we stay in an aging population here with heart problems and Parkinson's and Alzheimer, right? Mm-hmm. Now your grandmama, she's still alive, right?
Yes, she is. Thank
okay,
God.
You know this. What we're looking at is anybody can get that disease that they got. I heard you say that you was a DEI high, right? Now, I'm going to be really quick about this right here. Now, if you look at, you said you was a DEI high.
No. I said I was a cronyism hire, not a DEI hire.
Well, you said that, you knew somebody.
Yes. Cronyism. That's cronyism, sir. Huh? That is cronyism.
Yeah, well, listen, man, I didn't call to argue with you about that, but listen, this is what I want to say. Did you hear this? Do you know what Huntington virus is?
Could you repeat that?
Huntington virus. Okay, I'll tell you, there's a virus that Gene Hackman's wife died of.
Yeah.
I call the wildlife, the Fish and Wildlife Preserve because there are deers around here, right?
Right.
You know where field mice is. You still out there in Miller, right?
Yes.
You know where field mice come in the house, right?
Oh, yeah, unfortunately.
Now, you named the president who was what? George W. Bush. Now, if they would have cut out what they're cutting out now to CDC, they never would have known, George W. Bush, if they would have, if they would have knocked out that disease back then with the CDC back in 1993, where we would have been now. Now, that comes from mouse dropping. That's what his wife died of, with mouse dropping urine and, the mouse waste. They didn't really know that. That's what, now Bill Clinton, he came in 1993, right?
92, 93, yeah. Elected in 92, came in 93.
I think if they would have cut that out, we never would have known that. But this is what I want to tell you. I got to admit because I was wrong about that, man. It was 48%, right? You was wrong, too, with 54%. You know what? My son called me from the Bahamas. We both was wrong. It was 46%. You have a good evening.
Okay.
You are all black, too.
Thank you for your call, brother. You get the last word because I got to get on out of here. Because I might get the 2x4 treatment if I don't get out of here. So let's just end this show while I can.